All right, back on the record on case number 2210869 DM. Ms. Belvin.
Okay. Ishwarya, we've talked before, but it sounds like on July 9th, Andrew left to drive to Pasadena, correct?
Correct.
And you and the kids remained in Leland with the understanding that you were following a month later, right?
We did follow a month later on August 9th. Yeah.
Okay. And you knew that was the plan though when he left on July 9th.
I didn't have the exact date, but the plan was to get the kids out there before Josephine's first day of school on August 15th. Yeah.
Okay. So he headed out on July 9th. Had he done most of the packing before he left on July 9th? Had he packed up the furniture of the home and
Andrew packed up his own belongings, and there was a giant like stacks of boxes that he put blue painter's tape around to indicate these were his boxes that were going out there. And he did go through in the garage. There were a lot of like old clothes and stuff for the kids, and he did help go sort through those things. But the house was by no means packed up, and the kids, like all their belongings, like I packed those, they were still living there, so we didn't pack.
okay, so the kids' things remained, but was the home still completely furnished?
Yes.
Okay. And then he got out there, and then at some point, it's my understanding that you communicated to him like, I'm overwhelmed. Can you come give me a hand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he flew back to Michigan, correct?
Yes.
So when you asked him to come back, he came back.
Yep.
Okay. And do you know when he came into Michigan? Was it, later July? I mean, how long had he been gone before he was back?
I think that, I could look at my calendar. He left on July 9th, and then he came back on July 22nd for a week, and then he left again on July 29th.
Okay. So he came back on July 22nd. Did he help you? Did he give you a hand? The purpose of him coming home was to give you a hand. Did he do that?
I recall that.
I just have to get another pad of paper.
Sorry. Let me think about this.
Okay, I'm listening. So I'm sorry, you recall July 22nd, he came back, he flew back out July 29th to Pasadena. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my question had been, in that time that he was home, between July 22nd and July 29th, was he giving you a hand with packing everyone up?
I actually don't really remember that week super well. I remember a horrible experience that happened during that week. And I remember a thing that happened with his rental home that he had wanted to get in Pasadena. But
Okay.
I don't recall him helping to pack.
Okay. If he said that he came back and he was really hands involved in getting all the kids packed up, would you disagree with that?
To some extent. I remember the kids got COVID. We all got COVID after he left on the 29th. And I remember we were all sleeping in our beds and the rooms were a mess. And I don't recall, I don't really remember in my mind that week of July 22nd, 29th being like packing time.
But after he left and when the kids had COVID, do you remember frantic packing while you're sick with COVID, or?
I packed up everybody's, I remember the kids helped do their own boxes. The older kids did. Maybe he helped with Birdie's boxes. I can't really remember. I just remember being really sick and really overwhelmed that we had to get on a plane. We were all testing positive, and I wasn't sure how we were going to get on a plane when we all had COVID.
Okay. But you did get on the plane on August 9th, correct?
We did. Yeah.
Okay. And you got out to Pasadena.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Andrew was up that week? I think that was the week that you went out with Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, do you remember telling Andrew how sad you were that a friend, Adam Hess, had been kind of blowing you off?
I remember telling Andrew on the way home from the Riverside Inn, I'd like to clarify something about that evening. You asked Amanda about the painkiller number 5, and the painkiller is the name of a cocktail at the Riverside Inn. I have
Okay.
never taken painkillers outside of having my cesarean sections. I do not have a substance issue, and I have never abused any opioids or any drugs, or I've never done any drugs. I've only smoked pot and consumed alcohol. I've never done anything else. And that includes ever taking opiates outside of pain medication when I gave birth on
Okay.
3 occasions.
So I'm sorry. So I'm okay.
So I just want to make that clear, but yes, we'll go back to the Adam Hess thing.
Yeah.
So what happened that night is I had been drinking at the Riverside Inn with Amanda as she testified, and Andrew was in town. And I think that I was, he came to pick me up. I obviously was intoxicated. And he agreed to me to going out with them. He was like, I said, is it okay if I go out with Amanda? I think I invited him, and I can't remember if he didn't want to come or what, but he didn't come. And on the way home, I had been harboring a secret for about a year. And I blurted out that I felt really guilty about, and I blurted out to Andrew in the car on the way home, I had an affair with Adam Hess. And I remember Andrew said to me, we have to get you home because you're not physically safe in the car. And I remember we got home and I dashed into the house, and Andrew stayed outside, and we have a guest house and a barn, and I went to bed.
Okay, Aishwarya, so you acknowledged to him that you had an affair with Adam Hess that night?
Yes, I said
And
I had.
and you do remember that?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember expressing sadness because Adam wasn't in touch with you, that he had kind of blown you off, for lack of a better word?
Well, that definitely was happening. I don't remember if I said that to Andrew, but that definitely was going on. And I definitely was extremely hurt and sad by Adam Hess ignoring me. Yeah.
Okay. So it wouldn't be surprising to you for me to
absolutely not. I could definitely see that as well within the realm of possibility that happened. Yep.
Okay. And you kind of cried on Andrew's shoulder, so to speak, telling him how you were sad about how Adam was responding to you, right?
I don't remember that at all. Would that have been before or after I told him that I had an affair with him?
Well, it was at that same time. At that same time, if I had a perfect, I would imagine you acknowledged you had an affair before you told him that you were sad that Adam wasn't paying attention to you. But
I remember once I said to Andrew, I can tell you the whole story. What happened?
Well, Andrew recalls, and you're saying you wouldn't dispute that you probably shared with him that you shared to Andrew. I was having an affair with Adam Hess. And now Adam is kind of blowing me off, and I'm sad about it.
I want to be really clear about what happened this night and around all of this, because
can you just answer that question though?
I would say that I did after I told Andrew that I had an affair with Adam Hess. The next day, I fabricated a giant lie to Andrew about what had actually happened because he was so angry, which I understand. And he was like, he was saying things that, I would say.
I'm sorry. So then you lied to Andrew the next day. So
yep.
So what day did you tell Adam about the affair with Adam? Let me look. The Amanda Johnson evening was Tuesday, July 26th. So that's the night that you told him about the affair, and you probably told him that, you were sad that Adam wasn't paying you attention. And then you said the next day you told Andrew a big lie. What was the lie?
I told Andrew the next morning he was in the guest house and I woke up and I felt awful. And I mean, I'm not a liar. I just was, I will recreate the scene for you.
Well, can you just tell me what the lie was?
Well, I just told Andrew that I had only slept with him once during the time that he had left. He had left on July 9th, and I told Andrew that it happened once between July 9th and when he got back on July 22nd.
And
But-
that wasn't the truth.
I had not slept with him during that time at all.
Okay. A little earlier, you testified that when Andrew was giving you that ride home from Riverside, when he picked you up, that you had been harboring a secret for a year. So had the affair started a year previous? Did the affair start in July of 2001?
It wasn't an affair. I mean, we're legally married, and so I guess that you could say it was. We had a different Riverside night with the bunny incident and Andrew screaming at me and he driving me home drunk. And
So, Aishwarya, I'm sorry, again, the question is though, when did the affair start with Adam Hess?
I slept with Adam Hess for periodically between July 22nd. This is my discovery. And
July 22nd of 2021.
Yeah, and into like September 22nd of 2021. That was the last time. So it was roughly 8 weeks.
Okay, September 22nd of 2021. And then so nothing was going on with Adam Hess the summer of 2022?
It was not. He ignored me and I was really hurt.
Okay. You never had sexual relations with Adam Hess in the summer of 2022?
No.
Did you and Adam Hess get back together at all since the summer of 2022?
I saw him in September of 2022 for one evening, and we when Andrew had the kids in California, and we it ended that night. We had nothing. It was not good.
Did you have sexual relations with him in September of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. But things blew up that night and you haven't talked to him since then?
They didn't blow up. They just, I just was like, yuck.
Okay. So you ended it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing anyone in Northern Michigan at this time, or have you been seeing anyone since the summer of 2022 in Northern Michigan?
I want to be really clear about this. I've had sex with 2 people in the last 20 years, Andrew Llewellyn and Adam Hess. I just outlined the dates, and I have not had a sexual relationship or any sexual contact with anybody. There's been no kissing and no hand-holding with anybody other than those 2 people. And we obviously know that I'm still married to Andrew, but the other one was Adam Hess, and I gave you the full range of dates when that occurred.
Have you had any sort of dating relationship though since the summer of 2022?
No.
Okay. So there's no one that you're kind of interested in and that would be
I have a
keeping.
friend named Charlie who I really like, but it's not romantic.
Okay. Could it be romantic?
No. He has very serious health issues and he eats only a paleo diet, and it's super annoying to be around. So no.
What is Charlie's last name?
Wilson.
Okay. But are you really close with him?
Yeah, he's actually that business investor that I mentioned yesterday. So we have
Okay.
actually more of a business relationship at this point.
Okay. I mean, would you be sad to leave this area because of leaving Charlie?
No,
Okay,
he also lives in New York. He has an apartment in New York. He's mobile, he's not here that much no, I don't have any romantic relationships here that tie me to Leland whatsoever. I'm being fully transparent when I say that the reason I'm arguing for the children to live here is for their best interests and for the financial viability of the family.
okay. So you previously tested, you're currently living in that rental in Northport. When is that lease up, Aishwarya?
I can be there until June 1, but I know it's kind of a squishy date because as you have probably gathered, it's kind of like a family up here. And, my occupancy permit, like Charlie Sessoms, who's the building inspector, who Andrew called, he was like, I can get you occupancy in May, like no big deal. Just do X, Y, and Z. My carpenters who work for me full time were like, they call me Alice because my name's so long, and they're like, Alice's Wonderland, what can we do? And so they're on board to get it done. If in the event that I don't have an occupancy permit, I could stay probably in Northport for longer. She doesn't have any reservations for Airbnbs until the end of, I don't know when it is, but
Okay.
I would prefer to be back in. I'm trying to make, I just want to get back to my house.
Okay, and the rent right now at that Northport place is $18.50 a month, I think you said, correct? And then how much do you pay in utilities?
I don't know, like roughly, I feel like I Venmo her around $2,150 to $2,200 a month for rent and utilities. So whatever, it's always a little bit different each month, but it includes, the gas bill and the electric and the internet.
Okay. And then obviously there's no house payment for the Lake Leelanau home.
There is property taxes.
Yeah, so
that
what do you pay for property taxes?
I have a really old bill from 2021 that is roughly like $9,000, I think. And then the other one from last year from 2022 is $7,000. So I'm starting to, I'm going to be getting on a payment plan. I just called them and I'm just going to start paying, I don't know, like maybe even right now, finances are hard because of all the expenses going on, but I'm hoping that I could start paying just at least a few $100s. And then when, we'll see how things shake out, I could pay more. I have a really big project I just signed, and that's going to be starting really soon. Plus Charlie's investment in my business via buying a house that I'm going to do for him. So between those two things, I should have more income here from my work here. And then I'd be able to pay those property tax bills more quickly.
Okay, so the property tax bills haven't been paid since 2020? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, and now it's April 2023, so you are behind 2021, 2022, and probably the first
I
part.
haven't done 2023 yet. And,
Okay.
since Andrew we didn't have really again, going back to the consent judgment, we didn't really sign off on that until June 17th. So Andrew was really part of living here and not contributing to property taxes just as much as I was. And
Okay.
again, he makes $200,000 a year working remotely.
Okay, so you think the taxes in total for 2021 were 9,000?
I actually have them in an exhibit. I don't know which one that is, but it's somewhere in there. Yeah, I would say roughly $9,000.
And then it went down in 2022? That's atypical. You think it stayed about the same?
It actually went down because I what happened is they had us as not having a homestead, which means like they had us as like this was a
Yeah.
second family home, a
Okay.
second home for our family, and there was confusion about that. And so it ended up switching. And so I don't know, that's the difference.
Okay, I get it. That makes sense. And then what do you have in terms of homeowners insurance for the Lake Leelanau home?
I don't have homeowner insurance right now because it's really,
Okay,
but I will be getting it before we move back. And I
okay,
also am not legally need to have it because the home does not have a mortgage. So there's no legal need for me to have homeowners insurance. The homeowners insurance was a humongous burden for me financially while I was trying to navigate being in Pasadena in the fall. And then I've really been digging out of major bills, and it just hasn't been a bill that I've prioritized. Andrew referred to this via his counsel, I think in November or December, that he was angry that I didn't have homeowners insurance, even though he is not the owner of that property anymore. And I responded that if he felt the need to have a homeowner's policy, then he was welcome to purchase one, and I got no response. So since the home is mine and there's no mortgage, I'm not legally required to have homeowners insurance, and I definitely will have it prior to moving back in when I have my occupancy permit by June 1, 2023.
okay. But you did have, you were storing clients' belongings at the home?
Yep.
Valuable belongings?
I mean, yeah, I mean, if something happened to them, they're actually in the barn. So yeah, I guess that if something happened to them, I would be responsible. But they know that there's no homeowners insurance policy on it, and they were okay with that because there's so little storage that's nearby, and they were otherwise going to have to pay for it in Traverse City and pay moving trucks to have everything moved.
Okay. And then you said the carpenters, you weren't charging them anything to be there, but you have carpenters in the home using it to build cabinets? Is that what you said? Using that space for building?
Yep.
Okay. And so are they using heavy equipment in there, like saws, electric saws and things of that nature in the home?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they work there alone, and they also know the situation with the house. And they also are aware that I don't have homeowners insurance policy, and it's just not, we're really trying to piece it all together because there's a huge need for my business here. And so, there's no really, they said to me, they were like, we'll take whatever we can get because we'd love to work. And neither of us have a wood shop, and it's really hard to get space to build a wood shop in Leelanau County. And the demand for cabinetry, millwork, and that kind of design elements are really expensive. And so I have tapped into that market as well. And when things are settled, I'm hopefully looking forward to developing a full-on wood shop with heat and a really nice one that would also be incorporated in my business.
So what do you pay in terms of utilities for the Lake Leelanau home? Not the home you're living in, but that home.
The gas bill is about $200 a month for heat. I had the furnace converted to gas. We had we had the gas line put in last year, but then I had to pay to have the gas line connected to the furnace via the house. So, and I did that in order to have my wood shop this winter. So gas is around $150, and then electric.
Okay, you just said 200. I want to just clarify. You said 200.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would say probably closer to 200, and then the electric bill is usually around 150. I don't use the guest house at all right now.
Okay. Any other? Water, waste?
We have a well, so I don't pay a water bill. And then I don't have trash there right now because I don't live there. So I don't have trash pickup.
Okay. Yesterday you testified that you thought you had filed for divorce on August 1, 2021, because you were in love with someone else. I'm assuming that someone else was Adam.
Yes.
Okay, and that relationship had started by then.
Yes.
Okay,
I don't know that I guess I said that. I wouldn't say that I was in love with Adam Hess on August 1st of 2021.
okay. I'm gonna direct you. Okay, Your Honor and Melissa, I got smart and I sent some new exhibits to you, Melissa. They're exhibits that are within the exhibit D, but I had Lynn mark them as new exhibit numbers just so I can have those pages entered. So I emailed them to you. Oh, let me make sure, Melissa, that she didn't email it to the
Yeah, if she could send it to the Whitman Family Law address, that would be great. I'm checking right now.
yeah,
though.
that's it. It went to NMISH. Okay. Right. Okay, I had maybe not mentioned that, but okay. Let
No,
me,
nothing yet.
I'm gonna forward it to you right now, but I will just pull them up and you'll see them. But I just thought that may be the easier way to,
Sure, that would be great. Thank you for doing that.
okay. Okay, so Aishwarya on, so I'm going back to on, you know, we went through everything with you and Andrew signing the agreement on June 17th. But I'm just following up. So I see this email from Monday, July 18th. Do you recognize this email? Do you see that this is from Andrew to you?
I do.
Do you remember this email?
No, but this is obviously a communication we had.
Okay. Okay, I would ask that this be admitted as Exhibit L. It's an email from Andrew Llewellyn from July 18, 2022 to Aishwarya.
No objection.
Okay,
Admitted.
thank you. Aishwarya, can you read that first paragraph right there out loud?
Yep, I understand this is a very difficult time. I'm sorry that you feel that I left you there alone with the kids to deal with this. That was not my intention. We can work through this situation together. In fact, we have to work through this together. Here are the options as I see them.
Okay, and then what's the first caption that he has?
Waiting a year to move, kids staying in Michigan. So clearly this is a palatable option for him, is them staying in Michigan.
I
Okay.
got it, Megan. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And then it looks like he has another option that is,
Yep, splitting up the kids. I know you don't want to do this, but it is an option, which is currently what we are doing.
okay.
Current
And
situation.
I think he puts in the negatives, what splits up our family for a year. This would be hard no matter what it looks like. So he's acknowledging.
Really hard. Yep, it's
Yeah,
totally not good.
and then he put another caption that's everyone moves to Pasadena, correct?
Yes.
So after you reached an agreement on June 17th, Andrew was still trying to work with you, correct? To say, okay, if you're not happy with that June 17th agreement, how do we make this palatable? Correct?
So, correct. This is probably in response to a conversation I had with him, probably a few days earlier when he had maybe just gotten to Pasadena. And I was like, I am having major reservations about all of this. And, I think this was his way of addressing the concern that I was expressing, which he did in this email.
Okay, and then you'll see at the bottom, Aishwarya, how does he finish it? He says, take a look.
Yep, sit on it. Let me know what you think. We can work through this. We will get through it together, okay? Together, operative word. We were really supposed to be doing all of this
Okay.
stuff together, and the
Okay.
change of
But let's,
circumstances.
I'm sorry, can you finish,
that ended.
Ishwari, can you finish what it says there though? We went off script.
We will get through it together, okay? We've gotten through everything together in our adult lives, which I don't agree with. We can get through this too. I mean it.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were saying.
Yeah,
that
okay,
your side
sorry.
script didn't become part of what you were saying was being read. Okay, so it sounds like he's looking for your feedback on this, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember your response? I mean, what was your response to this?
I just have to be super honest and tell you that I don't recall this like little, this is again another snapshot, and I am trying to communicate to Andrew that I am overwhelmed. I don't know how I'm going to pay all the money that needs to be paid. And I feel that a lot of these email communications are very sanitized and don't reflect the emotional experience that was going on between me and Andrew and the dynamic, which is he will say, I will give you this option to stay there. But the reality in the dynamic is that he absolutely will not agree to that. And I know that that's not captured in that email, but it is a dynamic that was going on during that time.
So he's just a glutton for punishment, reaching out to you, asking you, do you want to talk about this? But he doesn't really want to.
Andrew is a glutton for my attention, and any kind of attention, like the need to talk to me was one of the defining things in our marriage. Was like he needed to talk to me about everything. And if I didn't massage his ego about every single decision he was making, good or bad, it was like that was my role. I made him feel better about everything, whether it's leaving his job when we don't have anything else, or losing our health insurance, or starting a business that he shouldn't be starting, or
Well,
whatever.
let me keep you on task here right now. I have another document that I'm showing. I've marked it as Exhibit M.
Okay.
And it is there. You'll see it. It's just some email. It's some emails back and forth between you and Andrew from August 6th, all in one day. Do you recognize this email? It looks like it started off from you to Andrew on August 6th, 2022 at 9:15 a.m.
I don't recall the specific email, but obviously this is a communication between us, and it is about LaSalle. And I had at this point just been like, this is a disaster. We all had COVID. Okay. I just want to say the COVID situation really illuminated for me how bad the move was for the kids. And that
can right now though, I'm going to just stay on topic. Can I ask to have Exhibit M admitted?
Can you scroll to the bottom of it, Megan? I just didn't see the entire thing. Did she
Yep, she
authenticate?
Yep.
As long as she says that she recognizes this and it's her email address, I don't have an objection.
Okay, thank you.
Admitted.
Okay, so Ishwarya, do you see this Exhibit M? And it's you reaching out to Andrew.
Yep.
Do you see that the first sentence is kind of your intro, and then the second paragraph you start with, can you read that?
I am very angry and upset that Josephine is going to be attending LaSalle for high school. I know that is a decent school. It is a decent school. I know that she will do just fine there, but I have to say, I do not think in any way that this is the right fit for her. I know you may not agree with me, and this is fine, but I feel that the school is not right for her.
Okay. And then it looks like you go on to acknowledge that there's a girl, Phoebe, that maybe there had been dynamics with before in middle school, correct?
When in elementary school, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and you just go through and state your reasons to return to, you don't want to return to quote past Adina. I see that. I thought that was cute. Okay, so then you say that, you wanted to go on about Cranbrook. You wanted to talk to him about Cranbrook. And then what was Andrew's response to you? Can you read that right at the bottom? At 10:10 a.m. on August 6th, what did Andrew write to you?
I can share more detailed perspective, but for now I'll say this. If you have an alternative plan for school, please state that to me. From that point forward, depending on the location of the school, we would have to revise our entire divorce settlement.
Okay.
And then I tell him what I want.
Okay, and tell us what you state there.
I say I would really like for Josephine to attend Cranbrook as a boarding student, and Leo and Bertie would stay in Leland, and Leo would go to Leland Public School for 8th grade and apply to Cranbrook for high school. And then Bertie would go to the Children's Center. And that's what I suggested. And he responded that he didn't feel like that was any kind of option for him. And he said, you're going to need to seek out a third party to facilitate any form of discussion.
Okay. And okay. And then, I'm sorry, then your response to that was?
I said, in terms of the divorce settlement, we can get an appraisal for the property and I can pay you half of that by a date specified by you. If I'm unable to do so, then we will have to sell the property. I'm at peace with this. We would need to figure out the tuition division. I could be at peace with this kind of a settlement if it worked for you. Again, I am opining outside of any kind of legal counsel, which is my fault. And I took the kids out there 3 days later. This is August 6th. I flew with them on August 9th. Andrew had that rage attack in the car 2 days later, and then pushed me out of the door in front of Bertie the day after that.
Okay. But and then down here, I'm sorry, you go on to say, I should have hired my own lawyer.
Yeah. Another mistake I made in this process.
And then you said, I will look for my own lawyer this week.
Yep. I did not do that because I had to get on a plane to go to California, and I had to pack up our children after we're all, including me, recovering from COVID.
Okay. When did you look for an attorney after that?
After in the month of October, when Andrew was neglecting our children and subjecting our 4-year-old to his angry outbursts, and I needed money to see my children, I was separated from them and our communication had completely broken down, which was entered in Exhibit 35, the communications about Leo's mental health and Andrew telling me he would not engage with me about anything. And I was frantic about Leo, and I really needed to understand what was going on there. And that was when I decided to hire a lawyer after the change of circumstances, because our children were not being cared for appropriately in California. And any argument that it's my fault, Andrew made this argument that he should have been allowed to leave as much as he left. He should have been allowed to behave the way that he behaved because I should have been there to give him a parenting split. But it is really ridiculous if you look at all these communications that we were supposed to do this as a family, and instead, that broke down. And
okay, so Aishwarya, can I have you see the last communication from him? Though you stated that I should have hired an attorney, and what did Andrew respond with?
Hi, as I said, I'm not really sure how to respond to all of this, so I'm going to step away from the conversation for today. I'm sorry you're feeling so upset. Thank you for watching the kids. I know it's very difficult, particularly with them having COVID. I will be in touch.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like it was kind of left up in the air, correct?
It was left up in the air, and I was forced to put the kids on the plane. Forced meaning like the kids were, that's what they were expecting. Andrew and I had no other agreement. I didn't know what to do. And Josephine was anticipating starting high school, and she had no other enrollment.
Okay, so then August 9th, flew out, correct? You and the kids flew out to Pasadena.
Correct.
And were you happy when you got there?
No,
Okay. And did you make that clear to Andrew?
I did not. I will say that the way that I made that clear was by being, I was kind of being silent towards him. I was not arguing with him. I didn't really want to talk to him. And so I was keeping our conversations kind of short. And it was really aggravating him. And, you know, it was just really,
Okay.
really upset.
Okay, and I'm gonna share the screen again. Here we go. This is Exhibit N. Again, it's Aishwarya, can you see this email? It's dated Saturday, August 13th. An email from Andrew to you at 7:58 a.m. Do you recognize this email? Do you recognize your email addresses?
I do recognize the email and the email addresses, and this email fully lays out the incredibly difficult situation that I had been put in. And I agree. Let me
Okay,
clarify.
let me ask first. I'm going to ask first that the court to have this admitted.
Sorry.
Moment. Aishwarya, she's just asking you whether or not you recognize the email addresses. Just answer that question
Okay, yes.
before you continue to speak, because otherwise it will make the record extremely difficult to interpret.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't have an objection to this, Megan.
Okay, thank you. Melissa.
Admitted.
Thank you. So this is on August 13th. Were you still in Pasadena or you had gone home by that point, correct?
I had not gone home. I was still in Pasadena. I did not leave until I had to meet a contractor at a house on Monday, August 15th. And that was imperative because I had to make a payment to Josephine's tuition. And I had to make some like tuition payments, and I needed to collect some money from clients.
So just as I look at the clock and it's 4:15, just to move this along, it looks like Andrew got the message that you were upset, Aishwarya. You said you were kind of quiet, but it looks like he got the message. So can you read this email?
Yeah, and I'd like to point out by this point, the incident in the car where he was yelling and then on the sidewalk had already occurred.
Okay,
And
I'm sorry, Aishwarya. I'm just going to ask you to read the email.
Sorry. Hi. So this is kind of, I'm going to read the email, and then I would just like to make it clear that the written statements from Andrew do
So
not.
one of the things, I think your attorney tried to do this. One of the issues we're having is
Okay.
on cross, you're only really allowed to answer the questions asked.
Okay.
So if Ms. Whitman feels like it's important, she'll take care of this on redirect.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So when Ms. Belden asks you to read, if you would just please read it, and we'll see if there are questions that Ms. Belden has, and then
Yes.
if Ms. Whitman has any issues, she'll either object or take care of it on redirect. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay. Hi. As I have said, I understand that you're upset and angry about our divorce agreement. I have spent the last 3 days wondering if indeed the kids should just go back to school in Leland, go back to Leland. After much consideration, I think that would further cause further confusion and damage. This morning, I looked at the enrollment contracts for Oak Knoll and High Point. Per the Oak Knoll contract, we had until June 25th to cancel. Per the High Point contract, we had until June 1st to cancel. Josephine starts high school Monday. I have a 1-year lease for a house here. Between my house lease and Bertie's tuition, I have committed roughly $55,000 to being here for this year. You have committed approximately $45,000 in tuition payments. I am open to revising our divorce agreement, even potentially terminating the one we have and starting over. I think a new one would require very different terms that would establish firm financial boundaries and no dependence on one another. In the meantime, we have mutually committed to being Pasadena for this coming year. It makes no sense to forfeit upwards of $60,000 in tuition to keep the kids in Leland, where Josephine and Leo will receive a subpar education, where they each receive Bs on their most recent report cards. I know you wanted Josephine to go to Cranbrook for her freshman year. It hasn't happened, and now we are committed to being here.
And I'm sorry, can you read the bottom? It says, I would really,
I
okay,
would really like to find an amicable way to work together to get through this coming year. We did last year.
okay,
Based on our conversations the past few days, that starts with you going back to Leland to work and get some emotional and mental space, a break from the past month. Beyond that, I would like to find a way to work together to be present on a daily basis as much as possible over the coming year in our children's lives. We can talk about ways we can do this, and we can continue to discuss options for reaching longer-term resolution between us.
okay. And then that is what I have to say. Love, Andrew.
Yeah,
So would you say this is Andrew again reaching out to you saying, I'm open to discussion. Help me out.
after he screams at me in the car and runs up and down the sidewalk and shoves me out in the front
Okay,
door.
but again, I'm going to keep you just to my question.
This email in and
Yeah.
of itself, yes, it
Okay.
says he wants to reach out and work together as a family. And he's also acknowledging the financial impossibility that I'm in, that I have to get on a plane and go back to work in Leland in order to pay tuition payments here.
Okay. Okay, Aishwarya, again, these are texts that I know have been attached to multiple things, but it's text from August 13th between you and Andrew. Can you see that? Can you confirm that you,
Yes,
okay, you recognize these texts that you had a number of texts back and forth from August 13th?
yeah, I think, is this before I don't know if this was, these are, yes, those, yes, to answer the question, yes.
Okay, so I would like to have Exhibit O entered.
The boxes, are those in the original? I don't understand what the.
No, I'm sorry, the boxes were not in the original. I just was trying to, it's kind of my way of highlighting.
Okay, did you email me that to me? Is it on, maybe it's on?
It's
other-
in it's in multiple of the exhibits to document to pleadings, as well as it was in that Exhibit D.
You just send it to, I have it. Hold on a second.
Okay, yep, and yeah.
As long as she authenticates it as being something that she communicated to him, I have no objection.
Okay.
Admitted.
Thank you. Aishwarya, again, these texts are texts between you and Andrew on August 13th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
You and the kids arrived on August 9th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
And you were supposed to stay until August 16th, but you left early. Do you remember what day you left?
I left on a red eye on August 14th. I flew into Traverse City. I got in the following morning at 10.
Okay,
And I went straight to work because I had to meet somebody for work.
okay. Do you remember what date this incident in the car where you said Andrew got real upset and was shaking and got out?
I think it was August 11th.
So 2 days after you got there.
It might have been the next day. I think it probably was the next day. Actually, it was in the driveway of his new house. So I think that I could reconstruct. It was on the day that I think it must have been, he didn't have that house until maybe like the 10th. So it was definitely not the 10th. It might have been the 11th or the 12th. It was either the 11th or the 12th, I would say. And then the shoving me out the door in front of Birdie was, I think, August 13th, which is the date that these texts were sent. And I just really wanted to go home because I was so overwhelmed and upset about everything. And I wanted for Andrew to help with the kids because he had been gone, and I had gone.
So in a 24-hour period, you had the screaming in the car incident, and then
Yep.
didn't you say that Andrew had to leave when he grabbed Birdie from you? You had just gotten back from taking Josephine to school?
That was a different incident on October 5th.
Okay, so there have been multiple incidents of him grabbing Birdie out of your hands. I think that's the first I'm hearing of this.
No, there are not multiple incidents of that.
Okay.
The first incident I'm talking about is the screaming in the car and the sidewalk. The second one happened, I think, the next day, where he pushed me out the front door, marched me backwards with his hands on my shoulders, shoved me out the front door, and slammed the door in my face while Birdie was standing on the inside watching. And I opened the door and came inside, and she suppressed a scream in her mouth and ran down the hallway to her brother. And then the other incident that I'm talking about that I reference also in my custody modification request was on October 5th when I handed her to him on October 5th to diffuse his yelling and threatening to call the police. And he buckled her into her car seat while she was hysterically crying and screaming for me, and drove off with her and Josephine.
Okay, so do you recognize in these texts that Andrew's texts to you are the dark ones, and then yours
Yes.
are the, okay. Just for ease, if you don't mind, I'm gonna do the reading because it's hard to read off of that darn screen.
Sure.
But what I see is that Andrew sent you an email or a text on August 13th.
Mhm.
It says, hi, I sent you some emails which you may be avoiding. I would like to say again that I'm sorry about everything and I'm open to making changes. This is August 13th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, I know you're feeling angry and miserable. I'd like to propose that we do something pleasant as a family today, like go to the Nickel Diner or Griffin Park. I think it would help and mean a lot to the kids.
Correct.
Okay, and then then your response was, I'm not avoiding them. I just need some time and space away from the very real problems with you. I want to go home tomorrow.
Correct.
And I will respond when I'm ready. I will say right now that I am not going to revise the divorce agreement.
Correct.
Okay, so you did not want a change of that divorce agreement on August 13th, correct?
This is an entire illustration of the domestic abuse.
Okay, but I'm sorry, just this question though.
Yes, I did not want to
The divorce, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you said the kids are going to be here tomorrow with you after I leave. Or I'm sorry, the kids are going to be here with you after I leave tomorrow. And I have committed to paying $45,000 for tuition, plus the cost of a rental here, plus the cost of travel to see my kids and manage my work from a distance.
Yes.
I'm not going through more divorce negotiations with you. I just want this to be over so I can move on with my life.
Yeah, I was so tired.
Okay. And then Andrew wrote, okay, I'm just trying to work with you. I understand we have real problems and need space.
Just so worn out, like we've gone through all the emails that, all these emails, and it's like, I think there's a real picture of someone.
Okay, but I'm just going to keep moving us along. And then you said, and if things do not go well here, then I will seek out the right people to help me fix them.
And I did that.
Okay.
Yes.
And he said, I am sorry. That is what I have to say. I am incredibly sorry and I'm feeling devastated. I'm sorry. I don't know what more to say. I suppose I'd like some form of kindness and a feeling of resolution with you, but I understand and respect that you're feeling angry and need space. I will give you that space. I'm sorry, Ishwarya. I really am. I never wanted this kind of pain and anger in our lives. And then you responded with, I can't give you anger. I can't give you resolution or kindness right now. And I don't need to go over why anymore. Really, I need for you to just grasp the reality of all that is going on without being defensive. The kids are not doing well. Josephine is unhappy about LaSalle, but feels stuck. She misses the barn. Leo is very depressed and can't even deal with his summer-ready assignments. And Bertie has developed a major anxiety about being away from me because of how things have gone this last month, excuse me. I'm glad you're happy to be back here, but I would recommend getting in touch with your priorities in life. And if they don't include the kids, then you should let me take them back to Michigan. I know you'll read this is a black and white criticism, and I'm sorry to be so blunt, but truly, I don't feel like you are aware of what you are taking on. And I definitely don't believe you want to deal with it.
I wrote all of those things and I stand by every word of it.
Okay, so on August 13th, you were already acknowledging that Leo was behind in school.
Yes, and
Leo was depressed.
yeah, and so what happened is we talked to the kid, Andrew. I was really sick of Andrew's apologies.
Okay, but I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep you on task here.
Okay,
In this text right here, you're acknowledging that
yeah,
Josephine's unhappy about LaSalle. Do you still think she's unhappy? This is before she even attended her first day of school, right?
right, but she was unhappy. And when I
Okay. And then you said she misses the barn.
Yep, in Maple City.
And then Leo, you said Leo is very depressed and can't deal with his summer-ready assignments.
Yep, I meant summer reading.
Okay. And Bertie has major anxiety about being away from me.
I'm going to object just because she said she meant every word of it and she said it. Is there any need to read it again, just in the interest of
Well,
time?
I just want, I'm sorry, I just want
She's
to,
gonna go over it. This is Cross. She's gonna go, this is kind of what we do.
yeah. I just want to, I really just want to acknowledge that. So as of August 13th, the kids had all these issues already, correct?
And we tried
They'd only been in Pasadena for.
and then that's why it initiated the conversation about moving them to Ann Arbor.
Okay, so I'm sorry,
if
so
I didn't-
let me just go on. So the next thing is Andrew saying, so what are you proposing? That is what I keep saying to you. I wrote you multiple emails. I even offered to talk with you about the kids going back to Leland. And your response was, I'm not proposing anything. I am leaving tomorrow. It is your turn to be in charge of this mess.
Yep.
And Andrew wrote back, I do not understand why you keep communicating like this. You say it's done and then you say things are a mess. And then you wrote, the kids are not doing well, but I am not able to work through this with you anymore. Like I said, you won. So I need to go back to work and move on, and you need to live with your decisions too. And then Andrew wrote, I do not understand what you are saying. Honestly, I do not understand. I don't understand, Ishwarya. Can you please clarify why you say everything is a mess, but you want to continue what we're doing? And your response was, I think what I'm saying is that we can't find a resolution that works well for either of us or for our kids. I don't think this arrangement is good for them, but I know that you are dead set on being here in LA because that's what works for you. I got sick of trying to find a compromise, so I agreed to it. The cake is baked. It is what it is. And frankly, it's not good for the kids. And I'm furious and unforgiving in my communication with you because I feel you do not care. You want to be here for your career and for your dating life, and that is a fact. So please stop giving me the faux, I'm open to other things, because you are not.
I have to just be clear that I didn't.
I want to just read this for the record. I'm sorry. It's not good for the kids. You wrote, it's not good for the kids for the following reasons. We can't really afford their tuition, but we'll try to make do. But we won't be able to afford the extra things they need. Activities, clothes, vacations, haircut, shoes. This is what our life was like, and that's why I wanted to move. It wasn't just because of your family. I wanted to live with more comfort, like groceries, and not pawn my ring all the time. Number two, I will not be fully present because I have to work to pay these tuition bills now. I don't have any work leads here, and it takes time to find them. Number three, they are going to need a lot of support with their academics plus therapy. I don't know how we will afford this. Number four, they will be living in a rental that is currently not furnished. Josephine is also stuck in classes with her childhood bully, and Leo needs a therapist and probably a tutor to help him adjust to High Point. And then you wrote, and Birdie needs me, which she won't have, but I know this is the only thing you want, so I'm moving on. And Andrew's response was, okay, so please tell me what you would like to do. And your response was, I want to walk away from you. And that means walking away from these problems with the kids. But I can't deal with this anymore, so I am leaving. And then Andrew wrote, do you want to talk with the kids about going back to Leland? And your response was, nope, this is done. And frankly, I'm not going to let you skirt all of your responsibilities anymore. You need to face reality. And Andrew wrote, I do not understand what you're saying. And then you wrote, I don't want to text anymore. This is making me feel gross. I hate it. And Andrew wrote, I do not understand the purpose of your words. And you said, then let's stop texting. I should have left yesterday. And then Andrew said, okay, if you don't want to text, I will call you. Aishwarya, these are our children. I have no intention of putting them through what you're describing. I wish you would please find a way to have some proactive communication with me. And then you said, I'm going to take a shower. I can't talk about this anymore right now. And then Andrew wrote, okay, I would like to talk about it. I have no intention of doing harm to my children. I wish you could understand that. And you wrote back, you already have. I wish you could understand that by forcing this ridiculous situation here in Pasadena. And Andrew wrote, can you please call me or take a shower and call me? I am willing to talk with the kids. I had no intention of hurting anyone. You know me. I would never do that. And Aishwarya, your response is, I want you to take care of the kids, not talk to them. So I'm leaving and you can be here with them. Kids want to eat and need help getting out of the hotel. It would be great if you could come over to help. And Andrew wrote, I'm sorry, I need to take some time to myself after this text exchange. I will be over there in a little bit. And your response was, okay. Do you remember this whole exchange?
I do, and there's a lot going on in it.
Okay,
I
but
would
you,
like-
but Aishwarya, again, you'll get a chance to explain
But-
that. You remember
But
this?
I'm going to
exchange.
object just because you're asking her if she remembers it and then you keep going. Is there a question? I mean, she needs, I guess.
She can say that she remembers it. That's the question. She said yes.
Yeah.
What you want her to be able to do is to keep explaining, but that's not.
I
what-
don't want that necessarily.
I don't want the explanation. I just want to confirm that this exchange happened.
She
And
said so by agreeing to enter the entire exhibit. Why did it need to be read?
so Aishwarya, you recognize that in this, Andrew asks on multiple occasions, essentially, please work with me. Aishwarya, tell me, what can we do? Of course I want to do what's best with the kids. Let's talk about this. And your response very much was no, not open for discussion. I'm overwhelmed. I'm walking away. You made this mess. Figure it out. Correct?
This is part of a pattern of domestic abuse. I've already.
Okay, and you can say that.
And
But
it's all part of the policy.
Aishwarya,
I know, I think you
I'm
asked.
going
Your
to
Honor,
object
Your
because she
Honor.
gets to answer.
No,
She
but
gets
I don't
to
need
answer
the whole
even if she
explanation.
doesn't, even if
I
she
don't need
doesn't
the
like
whole explanation, Melissa. I'm simply asking